Welcome to ISSI Partner Insider. Each episode, we break down what's changing across Microsoft, AWS, and Google partner programs and what it means for your business. This episode features Microsoft partnership expert Yousaf Ali on the updates you need to know. No fluff, just what moves your revenue forward.
Welcome to this latest episode from ISSI. We have myself, Aaron Johnson. We have Yousaf Ali. What we're going to do today is continuation from last time and talk Microsoft. That's what we're here for. That's what we're going to do. This week, we have a lot of updates. That's the main thing. Tons of things happened since July 22nd. We got so many topics, so many things to cover. Let's get into it. So MCAP started for the partners, like I said, on the 22nd. A lot of partners watched it. A lot of partners missed it. Can you give us the highlights, the plain English?
So absolutely. Basically, MCAP Stars for Partners is Microsoft's annual kickoff event for the partner ecosystem, I would say. And Aaron, it is the movement kind of, where Microsoft tells partners like, here is what we care about this fiscal year, and here is we are kind of, putting money, and here is how you should be thinking about your business for the next 12 months, right? So this year, the theme was obviously the frontier transformation, and the word frontier is doing a lot of heavy lifting because I say like Microsoft is using it everywhere, whether it's on their blogs, is there in the incentives, everywhere you see these terms like frontier farms, frontier accelerate, frontier partner badge, and even frontier specialization. So basically, if you hear the word frontier from Microsoft, it simply means that AI at enterprise scale, right? There should be no pilots, no experiments, just the production AI that changes how organizations actually work in the real world. So I would say, Aaron, the big numbers that came out of the event were quite impressive. Microsoft cited a total addressable market of over 1.3 trillion US dollars across enterprise, mid market, and SMB. So that said, partners could potentially earn up to 180% more than what they did in the last year if they kind of align to the right motions for the FY27. And obviously, Azure focused investment is up by 35% year over year.
It's a big jump. What's driving that increase?
Yeah, it is all about the AI and agents, I would say, because Microsoft is very, very clear that Copilot is going to remain the landing zone for them, right? And that is where kind of, they want partners to start on their side. But agents obviously are the next growth engine too. So what they are expecting is a kind of, AI agents to become embedded in every single organization and every workflow, and basically they issued a direct call to action, which is simply every partner must become an agent builder, right? So they also announced a new agent partner capability score that will reward partners based upon the agent build, adoption driven, and customer outcomes that were delivered during that period of time. So it is not just about selling licenses anymore, believe me, Aaron. It is basically about proving you can build and operate AI at scale, not at the mid level. And the other big announcement I would like to highlight before we jump into the next question was the Frontier Accelerate framework. Right. So this basically consolidates what used to be multiple disconnected programs into a single motion. So, incentives, funding, the skilling, specialization, go to market support, and customer engagement investments all come through one front door now, which is Frontier Accelerate. And Microsoft execs word were one front door, one path, and one way to drive success together at a scale.
How does this affect the specializations? Because that's where all the partners are focused right now.
Great question. I would say, if I can recall, Microsoft announced significant investments in partner capability building and made it very clear that technical skill is now a prerequisite for future co-sell opportunities. So, what do I mean by that? They introduced the frontier partner specialization, right? Which they described as the highest distinction in the partner ecosystem, which spans around 500,000 partners across the world. And it spans Copilot, Foundry, Fabric, and Security. These are the four things. And it obviously combines advanced skilling, specialization, proven delivery, and kind of enterprise AI expertise. So they also kind of introduced this frontier transformation engineer badge, which I just posted last week on my LinkedIn, as this is the highest technical credential for the engineers building production ready AI solutions in the ecosystem. So I would say the direction is kind of unmistakable. And if you want access to the best incentives, to the best co-sell opportunities, and the best customer introductions from Microsoft, you need to be specialized now, and there is no shortcut around that.
So that gives us a lay of the land from the event itself. Let's zoom into what Microsoft actually said their priorities are for the year, because that's what
Mhm.
all this rolls up to. So let's move into the specifics. What are Microsoft's stated priorities for FY27 when it comes to partner incentives?
Sure. So basically, Microsoft laid out four clear priorities for FY27. First one is accelerate frontier transformation, right? This simply means focusing investment on the most strategic workloads. That includes Copilot, Azure, AI, Fabric, Foundry, Security, and GitHub, right? So the money is going where the AI is. That is as simple as it sounds like. The second priority is the differentiator between the incentives towards customer growth. What does this mean? That Microsoft is rewarding partners who drive net new revenue, not partners who are just moving existing customers around. So this is directly connected to the new change of channel partner policy, which is called COCP, which I will obviously get into in a minute in a quite detail. And the third one, Aaron, is to kind of optimize pre-sale and post-sale outcomes. So they want to see kind of both the influence and the delivery. So there are like separate incentive tracks for pre-sale work, like you can say envisioning workshops and proof of concepts, and then post-sale work is all about doing deployment accelerators and competitive conversions, which will also give you the bonuses as well. And the last one, the fourth one priority is ecosystem health, right? They want to prioritize the ecosystem health. What does that mean? That might be something you never heard in the past. So basically, Microsoft wants to encourage new ecosystem growth and minimize what they call unproductive channel shift. Okay. So what that kind of really translate into, so they simply do not want partners poaching each other customers. They just want net new business, and that has to happen in FY27.
So, how do these priorities translate into actual program partners can access?
Yeah, that's another good question. So basically, they translate through the Frontier Accelerate framework, which is kind of split into two tiers. Number one is core and frontier, right? Obviously, there is core covers basically AI ready productivity and business processes, and on the other side, frontier covers Copilot, Azure, and security that I already mentioned. So the important thing is that core program requires a solution partner designation, and frontier program requires an advanced specialization on top of the solution designation. So for the copilot, you need the copilot specialization. For security, you need one of the one of the four security specialization, which includes cloud security, identity and access management, and then we have data security and the threat protection. And on the Azure side, each workload path gets on a different specialization depending on whether you are kind of doing migration, you are doing data platform or AI apps work. And obviously, the payouts are significant, Aaron. Uh, Only co-pilot envisioning and proof of concept workshop engagement pays up to $25,000. And then if you go for the same customer, which you can stack on top of that, if you do the deployment accelerator, that can goes up to $50,000, right? So on the security side, the Sentinel deployment accelerator alone pays you $112,500. And if I want to talk about the Azure side, which is Azure Partner Nominating Engagement, you can earn up to $25,000 for pre-sale and up to $150,000 for post-sale deployment work. But obviously, there is a catch. Every single one of these gates on the partner holding the right specialization. So that simply means no specialization, no incentive for FY27, and that is the recurring theme across the next financial year.
So that's some helpful context for where the money is going. Let us get tactical for a second, because there's one area where partners are already feeling this in their day-to-day business, and that's CSP. We know there's some significant changes to FY27. What should partners be paying attention to?
That's my favorite part as well because there was nothing has happened something like this for the CSP partners in the history of Microsoft ecosystem. So the CSP incentive structure Aaron for FY27 is basically built in three layers. Okay, at the base you have the core rate, right? And on top of that you have a strategic accelerator for product specific focus areas, and then on top of that the third layer, which is the growth accelerator, that is basically going to reward year over year revenue growth. So across workforce security and AI business process, the total incentive rate goes up to 19.5%. That is the greatest margin. And for cloud and AI platform, it is up to 15% on selling licenses. So, what does that mean? Right? Microsoft is basically trying to redesign CSP economics toward what they call a growth first model, right? So they are trying to reward more directly to net new growth and strategic workload expansion. So co-pilot margins obviously are going up from August 1. There is a new growth margin model that pays significantly higher returns on qualifying growth opportunities. And they have obviously simplified overall CSP structure in response to partner feedback that it had kind of gotten too complex in the past. And there is a good news for all the Copilot license sellers because Microsoft has introduced this Copilot in 30 campaign where you can sell up to 25 Copilot licenses for free up to 30 days in order to show the real time value before the customer actually make the decision on the purchasing side.
So, and there's COCP. Can you explain what that is and why partners should care?
Sure. So a CSEP stands for Change of Channel Partner. Okay. It is a new FY27 policy and it is a big deal, Aaron. Why? Because the principle is simple. Microsoft basically does not want to pay incentive for the revenue that just moves between the partners, right? They want to reward true growth and net new customer value addition. So I would say here is how it works in the real world. So when a customer's recurring monthly revenue or subscription move from one partner to another within the same solution area, Microsoft applies the change of channel policy rules. Okay. And the new partner is locked out of the core rates and strategic accelerator incentives for a full 12 months. And that obviously they can still earn growth incentive, but that's it. There is no extra money on that. And if this applies, even obviously when the customer initiated the transfer, right? So even if the original partners gave written consent, like, okay, you can take my customer, even adding a second partner to a tenant where one already exists, it's going to trigger the change of channel partner for the new partner policy. So the only exceptions are mergers and acquisitions, obviously business closure and CSP authorization type changes, like moving from indirect reseller to direct bill partner, or from direct bill partner to a distributor. So that's the overall change happening in the change of channel partner for CSP.
So, what should partners actually do about this?
Let me make it simple. Just focus on three things, right? First, understand the policy before acquiring anyone else customer base. Obviously, there is 12-month incentive lockout, which is real and it directly impacts the business case. Okay. Second, I would say focus on net new customers and upsell within your existing tenant, because that is where the growth incentives sit. And then the third one, the last one, make sure your CSP eligibility is locked in properly. So, what do I mean? That for the direct bill partners, they need the solution partner designation for the relevant solution area plus $1 million in trailing 12-month revenue. And then for the indirect resellers, they need either a designation or a minimum kind of, a 25 capability points plus $25,000 trailing 12-month revenue of selling CSV. So these are my three tips for the partners if they want to stay ahead in the game for FY27 when it comes to CSP.
Good. That gives us partners a good, clear checklist. Let us close out with a topic that trips up almost everyone: funding that partners already earned, but often leave on the table. So, the
Mhm.
last topic, co funding. A lot of partners struggle with it to claim it. Can you break it down how it works in FY27?
Well, there are some good news for the co-op fund earners. So basically, let me explain it briefly. Co-op is a short for cooperative marketing funds, right? It is a funding mechanism that comes from Microsoft from for the partners if they sell CSP, hostings, and surface incentives. Okay, so the global incentive split 60% and 40%. So what simply means that 60% pays as a direct rebate, and then the 40%, the remaining amount, goes into the co-op bucket. So that 40% is what partners can claim back when they invest in approved marketing and capability activities. So funds are basically earned semi-annually, like 6 months. Whatever a partner earns in the first half of the fiscal year, it becomes available to spend in the second half, and obviously it's going to go vice versa. But there is a minimum threshold, right? So for the CSP partners, it is like $10,000 per semester. If you earn less than that, the balance converts to a rebate payment instead, and it gets paid out directly, and you do not get it as a co-op, but it goes 10,000 above, then $6,000 will be paid directly to your bank account, and then the remaining $4,000 you have to claim through the co-op fund. So that's the overall strategy for co-op.
So, what kinds of activities can partners spend co op on?
Microsoft breaks it into three main categories with recommended spend guidance. So the first one is the demand generation at 50% covers basically events, conferences, paid media, multi-touch campaigns, and targeting perspective. On the other side, we have market development. Which covers around 40% on the allocated resources, customer workshops, solution adoption activities, and space. And the last one, which is renamed from partner skilling to partner capability, is sitting at 10%, that covers internal training, skilling, certification, exam fees. And I would say this is the one I really want to highlight today, because Microsoft AI Cloud Partner Program audit fees and Microsoft audit specialization assessment fees are now eligible. So that last point is directly relevant because it means the fees partners pay for the specialization audits and support service designation assessments are eligible for co-op reimbursement. So this is kind of breaking news, guys. When a partner asks whether the audit fee is worth it or not, the answer is yes. And by the way, you can claim it back through the co op under the partner capability category. And you know that Microsoft has introduced 4 new audits for the security specialization, and the fifth one is for the co-pilot. So now we have more than 15, I think, a total specialization that requires audit as compared to customer references.
So, what's changed for FY27 specifically?
When it comes to co-op, there are several things that has changed. Number one, third-party invoicing is now the preferred documentation method. They obviously the invoice needs to show like what activity was performed, when it occurred actually, and where it took place, whether it happened online or remote, like on-site. And if the invoice does not include that detail, the partner falls back to the CSR form, right? And obviously each activity has to be kind of itemized separately. So that's first thing. Second thing is that paid media is now required for multi-touch campaigns, right? So organic only campaigns no longer qualify for the co-op funding, and on the allocated resources cap it stays at 50% this year, but Microsoft has signaled it will decrease in FY28. So partners need to plan ahead of the time. And the other highlight I would like, there are like new activity level caps, marketing sitting at 3%, partner AI option at 5%. You have internal incentives where you want to pay commissions and bonuses to employees that can be only 2% of the total co-ops. And the claim deadlines are hard. Obviously, we know that FY26 H2 funds must be claimed by February 15th, 2027, and FY27 H1 funds must be claimed by August 15th, 2027. So if you miss that window, the funds expire and there is no extension at all.
Any final advice for the partners watching?
For those of you guys who are just joining us for the first time, my name is Yousaf Ali, and I have been advising Microsoft partners for the last 5 years, and I have been witnessing all the changes happening every single fiscal year. But this fiscal year, you really need to transform your visibility, your presence, your compliance in the partner center, and making sure that you are fit for making money by qualifying for the MCI fundings and for that one. So, if there is one thing I want partners to take away from this entire conversation, I would say it is this, right? So, pay attention. I would say like specialization are the key to everything. Uh, Basically, they are key to the kingdom for FY27. Please keep that in your mind. Specializations are the key to the kingdom. Why? Because the frontier accelerator engagements, the CSP accelerator rates, and the conversion bonus and the co-sell opportunities, they are also on top of that. All of it basically gets to the partner holding the right credentials. And if your specialization is current, you have the success. But if it lapses, you loses access to fundings, to visibility, to all the kind of incentives that Microsoft has planned for FY27. It is as simple as it looks like. And if you want help figuring out where you stand against all of these FY27 mechanics, that is exactly what our partner center maturity assessment is designed to do. Believe me, we have been working with thousands of partners around the world, and we are the official auditor of Microsoft, and we benchmark your designation, your specialization, and claim readiness against the current program requirements and give you a clear roadmap of what needs to happen for you in the next 3 months. So you can reach out to me directly or visit ISSI website anytime. And with that being said, over to you, Aaron.
Yeah. Yusuf, that was that was a lot of ground covered in a short amount of time. So they already know where to find you. I would say this is definitely worth a rewatch at least once. Get your questions, email them to Yusuf if you have them. Let's set up a appointment with him, go through your use cases, see where you stand and where we can bring you value. Thank you for joining us and see us in the next one.
That's this episode of ISSI Partner Insider. If you're building your Microsoft, AWS, or Google partner strategy, subscribe so you don't miss the next one. Thanks to Yousaf Ali for breaking down the updates that matter. We'll see you next time.